Oh,
Nice.
we're live.
Okay. What is up, everybody? Happy New Year. Happy 2017.
Happy New Year.
This is the first episode of the new year. I'm really excited.
I know we might be a little rusty.
A little bit of rust. There's going to be a little achy joints and rust we're going to have to shake off during tonight's episode. But there's no better way to do that than with each other and with you guys.
That's true.
Thank you for taking your first, it's not the first Monday of the year.
Oh.
Rookie mistake. You should pause it and mute it as well. It helps the show run smoother. I can't believe we're already off to a great start, guys. Episode number 148 of Ginger Run Alive begins now. Yay! I know that intro video didn't play any audio, and I apologize about that. That is because we had to do some weird audio things here at the beginning. I'm hoping that you guys can still hear us, of course, but yeah, the audio for some reason is working weird with Google Hangouts because every time YouTube changes something, everything breaks. So that's obviously wonderful.
No music, no audio on intro, no theme music.
Sorry, guys. You're going to have to deal with 10 seconds of silence there. But we are here. Happy New Year. Happy 2017.
Yay.
So excited to be back.
Show number 148.
Technically ish. So I thought about this because Gingermas, the live Gingermas episode was technically episode number 147 because it will be updated to the podcast. I figured just throw it into the podcast stream. You okay? Are you choking already?
A little rusty. My first LaCroix of the year.
Mine too. Will I choke on mine? No, because swallowing is just easy for some of us. So basically, we talked about Gingermas Live being episode number 147, but it goes up as Gingermas Live. So technically, that was episode number 147. This is Ginger Runner Live episode number 147. But in the stream,
I think because of this is why you're making a deal about
this. Why am I even talking about this for so much at the top of the show? People have been talking about this number behind me and Kim for the last year. It's been up there since the last set, since we moved into this house. People have been talking about what's the significance of 147. What is it leading up to? You know what the significance is? Episode number 147 never exists. The number 147 is the same as floor 13 in any building that's like 20 floors or higher. There is no floor 13. There is, but there isn't.
Right.
I think that's the significance. Wow. What a great start. But we had to explain that. So yeah, episode number 148 begins now. We're really excited about tonight's episode. We were going to have Stephanie Howe on tonight's show. She is fresh off a huge victory at the Bandera 100K overall win. Basically beat everybody, crushed the course record, got her golden ticket to Western States this year, coming back from surgery and just being injured for a long period of time. She unfortunately got stuck in Weathergeddon, Snowmageddon, lots of travel snafus type stuff. So we have her on next week, which I'm really
excited for that because as of lately, the women in ultra running have really been doing some really incredible stuff.
Yeah.
There's been some overall wins for the ladies lately.
And it's exciting.
Excites me.
It excites me too, because the sport is changing. You know, the athletes are changing. The competitive nature of the sport is it's getting hardcore. You look at people like Walmsley, who last year, ultra runner of the year, Casey Lichtai, also ultra runner of the year. What I love about Walmsley is that he just throws down the challenge. Like, he's out there. I am going to go for the Western States course record. I want it to be set at a point where no one will ever want to go for it again. It's stuff like that kind of makes things exciting. Really, really weird and interesting, but also really exciting.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
We have Guillaume in the chat room. He's very excited about our LaCroix.
Oh, Guillaume Calmet. Hopefully LaCroix is pronounced. We've talked about this on the show. It's LaCroix, not LaCroix. But Guillaume I'm excited for Guillaume because he's going to Hurt.
He's got some good stuff on
He's got some good stuff on the calendar, on the horizon. Guillaume, we are rooting for you. We talked about you actually over break, just as far as we think you could very well win Hurt. You're going to have some competition out there, no doubt, but and no pressure, by the way, no pressure. We saw you run last year and you did incredibly well. And when you finished, you were just very happy and it almost looked like you barely worked. So we're excited to see what happens when you go back this year. let's talk about what tonight's show is all about. Basically, the first show of the year, we kind of thought about it. We're like, you know what? Let's do what happened.
Sorry, Mike in the chat room goes, LaCroix is pronounced one, and that just made me laugh.
That is pretty funny. That's like the number one comment I think we both get on our reviews. I still get comments of people like, you pronounced Hoka 1-1 wrong. It's one. Like, I know, guys. I know what it is. They changed it. They've changed it back now to one. I
can't take myself seriously when I say it. And I think in my review, I actually cut
it out.
Cut it.
Yeah. Yeah. We're just going to say Hoka from now on. And I think the next Hoka review, which I'm putting up one this week.
You're just going to say one.
Just
Hoka
the whole
LaCroix?
Hoka LaCroix. No, I'm taking out the 1-1 or the one. I'm just saying Hoka because it's the only way that everyone's like, oh yeah, that's pronounced correctly.
Sorry to interrupt. I just saw
quite all right. Funny comment. Quite a funny comment. If you're listening on the podcast version of this, tune in live. The hijinks and hilarity ensue. We wanted to start the year off with an episode that maybe will get you guys fired up a little bit. Whether or not you go out and run some crazy distance or PR this weekend or anything like that is beside the point. But hopefully you can use this episode to set your own goals for this year. I just recently put out my video on Friday of my goals for 2017. It's just some of them. We'll talk a little bit about them this year. Mm-hmm. But what this is going to be a call to those of you who are watching live to let us know maybe some of your goals for 2017, whether you're thinking about them during the show or maybe you've already come up with the list. So bring them into the chat room. Let Kim know because Kim is in there pulling them aside.
Yes. And I think we're actually limited to 200 characters.
It's true.
Now, right?
It's another one of the YouTube changes to the live chat is that you can't type more than 200. Yeah. That's fine.
Okay.
It's think of it as a tweet. It's a fine limitation. If you can give us one of your goals in less than 200 characters, we'll see it. I don't know what happens if you go over 200. I think the internet explodes. YouTube is that fragile. So Kim will be pulling aside some of your goals, and we'll talk about them on tonight's show.
We already have goals rolling in.
Good. Pull them aside. We'll talk about it. I'm gonna start off talking a little bit about my number one goal. Kim has some of hers pulled aside as well. This is something that I always used. It's basically my number one every year. What?
We have Miss Destiny Sund in the chat room.
Hey!
Shouting out some major goals already.
Nice. Dropping her own little hammer, her own gauntlet, her own Walmsley. She's pulling a Walmsley. This is my number one goal every year is to stay healthy. Last year, I ended up having a bit of a knee issue in the middle of the summer, which it messed up a lot of things as far as goals for throughout the year. Some of my A races and some of the things I was really looking forward to couldn't happen because of it. I had to really reduce training, and it took a lot of my trail stoke. It took a lot of it just took a lot of the wind out of my sails, and it was a bummer last year. And in my reflection video from 2016, kind of looking back on the year, that's all I could dwell on is, one injury led to long periods of not being able to run long distances and not being able to race and all that kind of stuff and missing out on big opportunities. So I look back, I was like, just not really a great year. But the more you kind of think on that, the more you realize there are people that are far less fortunate than you. Mm-hmm. And some of their goals maybe didn't get met. And some of the goals that you wanted to get met and didn't, maybe weren't that big of goals in the first place or didn't even matter that much. So looking back and kind of reliving some of my experiences and trips and projects and all that kind of stuff, I realized very quickly that 2016 turned out to be a much better year than I anticipated. So I'm carrying over that first goal. And by the way, we're not calling them resolutions purely because in my mind, resolutions, you're basically setting yourself up. Everything you did in the past was already a failure. So now you're changing something to hopefully fix it. I don't necessarily believe that anything is a failure in your past because you learn from everything. So I like setting goals. And if you don't meet the goal, that's fine. You can learn from the reasons you didn't meet these goals. But it's not like you are damaging yourself by not accomplishing them, but at least it gives you something to shoot for. So in this case, stay healthy in 2017. That is to try and maintain a decent training schedule without overdoing it, pushing myself. And if I feel those little twinges and stuff, taking care of them, making sure, and I'm going to even pile on a whole bunch of other stuff with this health stuff, but eat better, talked a bit about it in my goals video, but it's not that we eat bad. Kim makes incredible food, very healthy food. But when I start getting into the edit regime where I'm sitting in front of my computer editing or creating art or doing something for long periods of time, my eating schedule gets off, which turns into habits. So now my eating habits are off. I tend to do a late breakfast, very little lunch, if any, a very large dinner because I'm so hungry by the time dinner rolls around, and then maybe a snack before bed. So my eating patterns over the last 6 to 8 months have just, the food is healthy, but I'm not eating well in the sense that I'm not eating on a schedule or any of that kind of stuff. And I think that's key. So my health, and aside from injury, also deals with just eating regular meals, healthy meals, and keeping everything as healthy as possible.
And that goal actually ties into one of my goals, which is stay committed to a healthier nutrition plan, cook more meals at home, and be more creative with my cooking.
That's a good one. I like that goal.
It's really easy to either get in the rut of cooking the same like 4 or 5 things over and over and over again, which is kind of, I feel like, where we are right now.
Yeah, like if
with a few favorite things.
I have 4 favorite things.
And I kind of make those favorite things over and over again.
I do eat everything. I do, well, everything, anything, essentially, I will eat.
Right. But I think that you really will. I mean, I'll make whatever and you'll eat it.
Right.
But for me personally, I feel like getting more creative with my cooking will help us kind of stay more on track, eat at home more often, and kind of try and eliminate those. Well, I haven't really planned out dinner, so let's go grab whatever.
That's what, that's what we tend to do, and it's on me, because if I'm in an editing routine where I'm editing videos or something, I'll usually find, like, I'll look at my watch and go, oh my God, it's 3:30. The sun sets at 5. I gotta get a run in. Let's go train. Let's go to the park and go run. So Kim and I will go to the park. We'll run, and by the time we get done, we go, should we just go grab dinner on the way home? And we'll grab something healthy.
And it's healthy.
We're not stopping and eating cookies or anything like that. But yeah, we'll get like a sandwich or salad. Or
I would still rather cook at home. I think I like to be more in control of what we're actually consuming.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just kind of getting out of our comfort zone as far as the few things that I do make all the time is a good way to push us in that direction.
I agree.
And just meal planning in general. And a lot of people are throwing out the ideas like Blue Apron, HelloFresh, like all those types of things. Yep. We've dabbled in those a little bit.
Yeah.
And they're fine. And
the cost to handiness ratio is interesting. You spend a premium for those types of services, but you really could just go to the grocery store and get those ingredients. They're fun. They're fun.
They're fine. Yeah. And I just like, sometimes you get things that you're not really interested in eating,
mm-hmm.
or for us, especially when we're at the peak of our training, we're often eating more than maybe the average person is eating. So sometimes there's just not enough food.
Right. A part of these goals.
I feel like a glutton.
Well, no, I mean, anyone that runs 50 or more miles a week and also trains and does other things can attest that you eat more than a typical person. You're allowed to, because you're in a period of training. What happened?
Destiny sent in the chat room.
I was going to bring up our friend Destiny, who's in the chat room here, who's in many of our videos and stuff. Our best friend from Seattle. We were at their house. It was a couple months ago, but they ordered one of those types of meals that gets delivered in pieces, and you get to make it yourself. They provide you with the recipe. All the ingredients are there, and it's super handy. It's like Blue Apron, that types of service. And it was cauliflower steaks. It was the vegetarian meal that they offered, where they provide you with the cauliflower and all the spices and the breading and all that kind of stuff. And it looked amazing. The pictures make it look fantastic. There is a picture on my Twitter profile. I believe if you go to my Twitter and click through the media tab, you should be able to see the picture. It's not too far back. It was hilarious. They delivered mini cauliflower. They were this big. The entire cauliflower plant. The
whole head of cauliflower was smaller than the lemon that came in the box.
Smaller than the lemon. And they expected you to slice it into multiple steaks. And they gave you 2, 1 per person. It was a joke. It was an absolute joke. In addition to these goals, so by the way, this was our first goal, was to stay healthy. I love the making food and recipes. Kim is a fantastic cook, and I can't wait to see what we get to eat all the time. I'm much less of a good cook. I can bake.
You are good.
I'm a good
you
baker.
Are great at baking.
But I am not necessarily a good cook. Part of saying these goals tonight, and I would love for you live viewers and those of you who are listening later, to do this for yourself as well. Not just set the goals, but set how you can be accountable for them. Part of us wanting to read some of your goals on air is so that there is tangible evidence of these being spoken out loud. It can be you saying it out loud to a loved one or family member or something like that. It can be you handwriting it so you have a list that you can put on a wall somewhere and frame it. Hold yourself accountable. So a part of holding ourselves accountable for this is one, I made my video on Friday, so it's basically me putting my goals out there. There was a wonderful comment on that video. I'm going to swear, so if you have kids, earmuff them. The comment was very simple, to the point. Why the fuck do we care about your goals? You shouldn't. I mean, you can. I mean, it's totally up to you. The reason I made that video on Friday was for me. So there is a video publicly available that has my goals for the year publicly stated, so I can go back later, 365 days from now, and say, I accomplished X goals, or I did not. I did it for 2016. I in that same video, I went back and looked at my goals from last year, and I did not accomplish all of them.
Right.
Because of injury or because of other reasons, and that's okay. I can go back and go, here is why I didn't accomplish these goals. So maybe that in itself is the goal that I can kind of harness for this year. And some other people were like, oh my God, so many goals. They're not that many goals. They're goals that are within attainable distance in different facets of my life. So training, staying healthy. There's some creative goals as far as creating content. There's, lots of different goals for different facets of my life, and they're not completely unattainable. So holding yourself accountable, figuring out a way that you can do that, I think is going to be key to this. So for me, staying healthy, I will, of course, if I feel a twinge or anything like that, I want to publicly put it out there. That way I can hold myself accountable to take a step back if I need to. If for some reason I have a calf strain, I can put on my Strava link from that day. I can upload that run and go calf strain. That way I can look back at that and go, I gave myself a week or maybe 3 days to recover from whatever that is, just so I can have evidence of these things happening. I want to be as completely transparent as possible. I think what happens a lot, and this is amongst elites and those who I follow, is they'll be injured or they're not training as much, but they'll never tell you why, or they'll just keep it off social media. I totally respect people's privacy and all that stuff completely. However, I want to make sure that everyone can kind of hold me accountable as well. Like if I say I have a hamstring issue, so if I have hamstring issues on a day, I want to be able to push that on my Strava, and people can kind of keep up with the training the days after and be like, hey, how's that strain going? And I can self-check and do all that kind of thing. I want to make sure that we hold ourselves accountable.
And I think that's really brave. A lot of people are like, oh, why aren't you posting, why aren't you posting all these things on Strava or blah, blah, blah. I've had like complete strangers that have no idea who I am come on my Strava and go like, why'd you only run this? Or like, what's your fastest mile? And I'm like,
who cares?
That's not what it's there.
Yeah, it's not for them.
If you really care about what my speed is, go through all my Strava and look at it.
Yeah, it's all there. Yeah, it's all there. It's all publicly available.
So what I'm saying is it is hard to commit to just putting everything out there and being transparent, because there's always critics and there's always kind of assholes that just kind of
for sure
have something mean to say and need somewhere to put that.
There's an element that there's definitely a hard aspect to putting everything out there. It's challenging mentally to not only do it for yourself, but to also deal with some of the repercussions of just people's public awareness of what you're doing. And they feel responsible for providing input and advice. There's a lot of laptop doctors out there who love to assess whatever the problem is. I tend to consult my actual doctors in many cases, but it's not going to stop anyone from providing their own opinionated feedback and whatnot. And Kim, now with her new channel, which, by the way, let's not forget, Kim has a new channel that is geared towards women by women.
And this is one of my goals, you guys.
Let's talk about it.
Can I talk about it?
Of course.
So as Ethan was saying, I do have my own YouTube channel. It's obviously by me, a woman. It's meant to be for women. Men, you are welcome to view as well.
There have been a lot of men that have viewed and given you their opinions.
And I by no means want to exclude men from coming to my channel for if they're interested in the shoe I'm reviewing, yada yada yada.
Mansplaining why you're wrong about something, yeah.
Or telling me I should be, running by the camera so they can see how something
Show more of
specific
your
looks
body.
on my body.
Yeah, we want to see this pack on your butt. You're a dude. Do you want to buy a female running pack? That doesn't make sense.
Anyways, one of my goals is to be consistent in posting weekly videos on my YouTube channel and stick with it. Rise above the negativity and don't take it personally.
I'm going to say it is a difficult goal to do. Having done YouTube now for close to a decade, it is difficult to post weekly content. However, you will be able to do it. Because I've already seen you edit all your own videos. You've already been able to do it for 3 or 4 weeks now. You kind of get that there is a grind to it. There are going to be late nights. I'm happy to hold you accountable. So if we want to talk about how to hold you accountable, one, you've just stated you're going to be posting weekly videos. And
I also state that in every video, so that makes me feel like I'm accountable to make sure I post the next video, because I'm saying that I'm going to be posting weekly videos. But I will say that, and I've talked about it briefly before, I don't know if I've talked about it on the show or maybe just online, that it was extremely difficult for me to start my channel, not because I didn't want to do it, but more because of the fear of being transparent and putting everything out and just being very aware that you are just going to get some negative comments. So
it's true.
So it's that's my goal, is to be able to just kind of work through that stuff and not take it personally and not make it feel like I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing.
It's difficult when you are doing so much social media, outward social media. Here, here's a photo, here's content, here's a blog, here's all this stuff. Go look at it. It's hard to do that stuff, and then there is always some sort of backlash from certain individuals that feel entitled to give you their opinions. It's just something you learn to deal with, grow the thick skin. Over the last couple of years, I've basically learned that there's just no place for these social channels are ours. These are our places where we get to create what we want and put it out there. Of course, criticism is going to happen. It's allowed. If someone doesn't like a certain video that I make, then they're entitled to that opinion. But when it comes to bullying or the type of speech where you're just like, oh my God, this is terrible. That is our space to delete and create the community that we want to create. It's not like it's a public forum. It's our space with our public forum.
Right. And the thing is, though, like, a lot of people think, oh, well, because you're putting something out there on the internet, it's public. So we can do and say what we wish, on your public forum. But it's been, for me, for my Facebook page, which I've had for years, I've had no problem deleting or blocking people.
Yeah.
But for some reason in video form, it feels a little bit more personal. It feels a little bit more vulnerable, I guess. So
for sure. Well, I'm excited because this is something you will absolutely be able to do. You will end this year with 52 videos. Unless the weeks work out weird. I don't know. I don't want to do the math now, but 52 videos that you'll be able to look back on and know that you did it all.
Yeah, that's the goal.
And if you didn't, or if you don't, you got a lot of viewers here that are going to hold you accountable.
I think Go Seki NZ said, what was that you said? Daily video?
No.
I think you've dabbled in the daily vlog thing before.
Yeah, on previous channels I've done it. And you know what? There's a huge growth spurt that comes with doing daily videos, and there are channels out there that do it. I have learned my lesson with value. I have learned how to value my time better, because I feel like by doing content all the time, every day, you no longer present what your real life is, because then you begin to make up basically falsehoods of how great life is. Because if you have to put out daily, like vlog, I'm thinking vlogs primarily, but the more vlogs you put out, the more you end up trying to make it look like everything's fine. The reality is you're stressing to meet the deadline of getting a vlog up. Your life isn't always fine, so you never show the details of your life that are negative, because you don't want to put up the negative vibe. Basically, you take away a lot of your happiness when you do that. I learned that.
Yeah, and I think there's also an element of what am I trying to say here? Not like privacy, but not privacy. I feel like if you were filming every day in our house every single day, I feel like I would just want a little bit of my own time. That's not on the camera,
Yeah, and there's so many other things that I want to do with my time. one, spend it with my wife. Also, I want to be able to run without having to hold a camera all the time and aim the camera and do all that kind of stuff, or worry about what the video is going to look like at the end of the day. I also want to continue to do graphic design, create music, do all that kind of stuff. There will be times when I can document that and share it with you guys, and I'm very eager, because a large portion of why we're even able to do this is through your support, through Patreon and the like. So we definitely have a lot of that to give back, but I've specifically learned that daily content does not benefit me in my happiness realm.
Right.
For a couple of years, it can be really great. It can be a lot of work, but you can benefit a lot by growing your audience and all these monetary gains and all that kind of stuff. But I learned that it is not always worth it. And so that's why we do one video per week, but now we do two with the live show and, my video and Kim's video. So that's actually 3 now pieces of content a week that we'll be delivering to you guys, which is great, but it still allows us the time to do all the other things that we really, truly love. There are channels out there that are producing tons of content. I want to give a shout out to Jameel and Mountain Outpost and Run Steep Get High. Jameel, correct me if I'm wrong. I think they just did a podcast with him on Ultra Runner Podcast today, talking a bit about it, and I'll have to listen to it to find out exactly what the logistics are. But I know he has a team of people, so that probably takes some of the pressure off of him and some of his other employees and stuff to do a lot of the content.
We don't have employees.
No, we don't have employees. No, you guys are not our employees, but you guys are our support. You know that you're supporting both Kim and I individually to do this stuff. So yeah, maybe someday we will. That'd be great. But yeah, we don't.
Gus. We have Gus.
I'm going to dovetail on that goal with my goal, which is similarly veined as far as creating new content and new unique pieces. The last couple of years, I've dabbled in documenting other people's running, other people's stories, whether it's Gary Roberts running around Mount Rainier, Brian Morrison at Western States with A Decade On, Stage Candidate Western States, my friend Tim Sheaf, as he's a free runner, Ninja Warrior. Did a little fun video with him last year. I really enjoy that type of stuff. I think that there are incredible number of stories that are untold. And I feel like there's this trend leading towards following elites and all that kind of thing. And there's a certain episodic series that I've been working on now since last year. I filmed a lot early last year with my friend Yassine Daboon. And it will be an episodic series that will basically run for 4 to 8 weeks, depending on how many episodes we can finish. But hopefully that's my big goal this year, is to deliver that to you guys, because it's different than anything that I've done before. It's a bigger project than I've ever done before. And I know last year my goal was to complete I think it was actually 2 years ago, was to complete a feature length documentary, something close to 60 to 90 minutes. And last year I kind of realized, I don't know if that's what I want to do. I don't know if I want to do a 60 to 90 minute piece, because documenting an individual runner run a race or something like that just doesn't lend itself to long content. Even if the story is, fascinating, it's difficult to sit through long pieces that delve into one person or, even a couple of people. So what I wanted to do is cut it up, do like an episodic series. So I'm excited. I'm not going to unveil the name or any of that kind of stuff, but it's definitely something I wanted to put out there so I accomplish it and get it done and share it with you guys. Also, A Decade On is coming.
Yeah, there's people asking in the chat room about A Decade On, and also people asking about Barkley footage from Gary.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So here, I'm not spilling beans. I also want to
say, I keep clearing my throat and stuff. I feel like I'm getting a bit of a cold, so I apologize for all that.
I'm glad you apologized.
Well, I'm sitting over here like.
There's probably a good 10 people out there that are like, man, that Kim, she's just sitting there like.
They're currently writing rude things on my YouTube page.
Why do we care about this? Why do we care about your goals? Let's talk about A Decade On first. A Decade On is complete. The movie is complete. It was the first one that I completed and went, let's see what we can do with this. We are touring. First of all, I will be touring to the East Coast. Kim will not be coming with me, unfortunately. This will be Ethan and Brian Morrison come to the East Coast. It'll happen as soon as the first week of February. So we will be announcing dates and locations within the next, hopefully, week. We're just kind of working out logistics now, but we have the Southeast kind of on lock. We've got 4 states I think 5 or 6 locations that we will be hitting with the movie and Brian. And I'm looking at extending that trip and hitting a couple more locations in the northern east. Unfortunately, we won't be able to hit as many cities as we like because there are logistically lots of things that both Kim and I have to do, and we'll get to that later in the show, but there are other things that have dates and we have to be other places. So we can't extend the tour to be a month-long tour like we would love to do. That being said, we're coming on tour with A Decade On and Brian Morrison, and I'm very excited about that. As for the Barkley footage, that was never finished. When Gary was unable to complete the 5th loop last year at Barkley, I had a decision to either edit together what I had of him at Barkley or save it, hold it, and wait for 2017. I'm waiting for 2017. So we are going to be going back to Barkley, and we're going to be documenting as much as possible. And hopefully, our good friend Gary Robbins manages to finish that 5th and final loop. We shall see. Obviously, it gets harder. So the race is now completely different. Jared Campbell will not be there this year running, and
I think he's going to be there.
He may be there in camp. Yeah. I think he talked about that last year, at least, just wanting to be there in camp. So we'll see. We'll see how this all unfolds. Obviously, nothing's predicted. I mean, anything could happen. We don't know. But I wanted to sit on that and at least wait until 2017 because maybe there's a bigger project there. That is a really cool story. There's lots of stuff. See, lots of stuff unfolds early on in the year. And so projects kind of pop up and different things like that.
Everybody's very excited about you coming to the East Coast.
Get excited. It might involve many of you driving longer than you hope. I don't know where we're going quite yet. I do know that there will be a North Carolina, Tennessee. There will be some locations there that we do that. There may be the possibility of getting the film into certain places without us being there in person.
Right.
That can always be an option. It just is. We would much rather be there, or even just me be there to at least make sure that the sound is good, the audio and visuals are good, but that sort of thing. But that was a goal this year, and it's kind of unfolding now. So
it's already unfolding. Yeah. That's great.
And that's how we're going to hold it accountable, is because I've said it. It's out there. We're going to make it happen.
Happening.
What are some of their goals? Have you pulled some aside?
Yeah, I have pulled some aside. And if I don't talk about your goals, maybe just put them out again in the chat room, because you guys commented so fast. I got so far behind very, very quickly.
Yeah, the chat room moved real quickly there. Real quickly.
All right. Goal from JM Shamaria. First marathon.
Love it. This was something that I wanted to talk about tonight. I feel like we're going to get a lot of these. There's a
lot of firsts happening in the
as far as goals go. These are the best goals because they are completely tackleable. I want to tell you guys a story. This happened yesterday, and I was talking about it all weekend to Kim, and Kim's just like, "That's really cool." A friend from past life, like when we lived in Seattle, I did improv with her. She's fantastic, super nice woman. Trained and worked her ass off to train for her first half marathon that she was going to run this last weekend in Walt Disney World. The Walt Disney World, I don't know what it's necessarily called, but the marathon, half marathon, 10K, 5K all took place over the last 4 days. Some people were doing the Dopey Challenge, which is something that I desperately want to do someday. It's just so expensive to do it. But my friend trained her ass off. She's never run anything. I think she's done maybe a couple halves before, but she took a long hiatus, and this was like a really tough one for her to train for. So she trained for it. She traveled out there, spent lots of money, by the way. Anyone that runs a Walt Disney World anything tends to spend
a lot
of money. Not just for the hotels, but for the plane tickets to get out there. Plus, if you want entrance into the park, there's no discounts.
Travel, the park tickets, the food,
parking, rental car, all sorts of stuff. So, this is an expensive trip. The half marathon got canceled. It got canceled the day before because of thunderstorms and rain threat. I obviously have never been to Florida, so the weather there, I can imagine when they have a threat of thunderstorms and rainstorms, that they're probably pretty bad. Based off of our experience in Tennessee during last year's thunder, rain, flood, tornado, it was miserable, completely terrifying. So I believe that the weather played out kind of what they predicted. Correct me if I'm wrong. she was presented with a choice, as were all the half marathon runners. This is because the half marathon took place on Saturday, so everyone, including the Dopey Challenge runners, basically anyone that was going to run the half marathon, was presented. I'm going to get some of these wrong, but with the following options. Rather than a refund, you were given a gift card at the value of the race entry fee.
Yeah, so they basically said, we'll give you a full refund of your race entry in the form of a Disney gift card.
Correct.
So there's that option. The second option was race entry into another Disney half marathon based on availability within the next 24 months.
Right, so no guarantee.
No guarantee. There was
entrance into the full marathon on Sunday. You could basically limited number would be allowed to run the full marathon on Sunday if they chose to. And they think there was one more option.
And I can't remember what it is right
now. Park hopper tickets.
Oh yeah,
you would get two
park hopper tickets.
2 one-day park hopper tickets, which the value is over $200. Easy, probably closer to $300.
My thing with that one is, if people are traveled already to Disney, they already have their tickets.
They already have their tickets. So, I mean, if you think of those options, all of them put money back in Disney's pockets. The gift card requires you to go back to Disney to use the gift card. So you're already, oh my God, I'm ranting. So you're going to spend money back on Disney. The race entry into another race, you're going to have to go back to Disney and provide them with more money, whether it's hotels, travel, all that kind of stuff. Basically, everything put money back into Disneyland's coffers, except for transferring to the full marathon. But very few people, I can imagine, would be like, I trained for half, I want to go run a full. My friend did that option. So she was trained for the half marathon and was nervous about that already. But she's like, screw it, I'm going to go attempt the full marathon. She crushed it. She did it. She woke up. She was nervous. I gave her some advice on Facebook because I got excited. I was like, I know I haven't talked to you in years, but I am excited to see this post kind of unfold. So I just kind of gave her some very basic, like, just go slow, eat calories, that sort of thing. She crushed it. She had all the support of her friends and family, and she managed to do it on training for a half marathon. Now, do I recommend that for everybody? No, but it proves that you can set a goal like running a marathon and accomplish it, even though you maybe aren't trained for it. Maybe you're mentally like, I can't do this. You can do it. I didn't share this info with her, but it's something that, ultra runners kind of understand. If you're training for a 100-miler, in most cases, like a 100-miler, my longest run leading up to that, besides 100K races, was maybe 25 to 30 miles, I would say, on a training run, like a 30-mile training run. So I went from a 30-mile training run to a 100-mile race. Yeah, I didn't want to share, like, it doesn't really matter about the mileages. It just matters of, like, mental willpower, your ability to push through pain, and your want of a finish. So this goal of running your first marathon, I love it. I'm ecstatic about it. Oh, no. Are people commenting on my rant?
People are commenting on your rant, but Jesse Murray has the best comment. I heard Disney is opening a cauliflower steak restaurant.
Burn. That's a good one. That's a burn.
The chat room is, like, pretty
on point tonight. You guys have been saving it up.
Entertaining me a lot.
We've been dark for 2 or 3 weeks, so people are just like, I gotta come up with the witty comments. You guys are on fire tonight. I love it.
And I think Kimo asked, entrance not included with race entry. It is not. And in fact, our annual passes, I believe, are all blocked out for race days as well. So even if people have annual passes, I think they still have to pay, and it's expensive.
I have no shame in saying that we love what?
I was going to say, my very first half marathon. I'm trying to get a word in with
it's know.
Hard.
It is.
My very first half marathon was a Disneyland half marathon, and it was a lot of money, and I never regret that being my first marathon. I had an amazing time, but it's a lot of money.
It's an amazing environment for a first time any distance, because you are surrounded by Disney characters, people of all abilities, all lives, rich, poor, everything. They do these races, and they're great. They're welcoming. They have everything. It's just very expensive, and they know it, and it gets more expensive every year.
Matt Feldhage is asking, where is the runner rant segment intro?
It was the intro. It was the intro credits. It was welcome to Ginger Runner Live. Let's rant for an hour. Not true. I'm just really stoked that she finished.
I think that's so awesome.
I think it's awesome.
And I think it's really awesome for a lot of the people, from what I was reading on social media, people that were registered for the half just went out and did their own 13.1 on Saturday.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool too.
Yeah. Friend Lindsay Starr, aka Sharpie. He's an online blogger, runner. We went to New York for the New York Marathon a couple of years ago. Awesome guy. Also was there for the Dopey Challenge, and he's like, they're giving you the medal for the 13.1 without running it, because what are they going to do with 2016 or 2017 Dopey Challenge medal half marathon? So they all ran around the resorts, and there were spectators out there. It was crazy. Yeah. It was awesome. It was awesome. We'll have to get him on the show actually soon, because he's just a really funny guy and can talk all about the Disney type stuff. What I was going to say is, if you have a goal of running a first blank half marathon, 5K, marathon, ultra, we're going to get an ultra a lot. We're going to get people wanting to run their first 50K, first 50 miler. Here is the first step. We're talking about how to hold yourself accountable. First of 2 steps, put it out there, whether you verbalize it, write it, post it, come back to this video once the live show is over, because then those comments live there. The live show comments, for some reason, YouTube likes to delete the whole live chat. Yeah. But post it in the comments. That way you can come back and go, oh yeah, that's my goal for the year. That's step number 1. Step number 2, register for one. If your goal is to run a marathon, pick one that means something to you or looks cool. Or whatever
miler, whatever it is.
Just register. Just do it. Worst case scenario, you get up to that race and you just don't start, right? You're out a couple $100 or whatever. Register. That will be I get this question a lot. I know you do too. I'm looking to run my first blank. What's my training thing? And the first
pick one that means something to you. Register.
So yeah, that's how you hold yourself accountable. That's that piece of advice. What else?
All right. Some more goals. Let's see. Elena Disson. I think I butchered your name. New to running my first half marathon and trail race.
Awesome.
So that kind of fits into that category. We have another one that fits into the category. Destiny Sun, maybe a 50K.
Now, Destiny, you're a friend of ours. We're going to call Destiny out live right now. Destiny, sign up for a 50K. If you don't, we are going to do it for you. And we're not going to tell you which one, and we're not going to tell you when it is.
And it's going to be 100 miles.
And it's going to be 100 miles. It's going to be 100-mile 50K. Destiny, by the end of tomorrow, no, before next week's show, register for a 50K. It can be,
or at least pick one. Because the registration isn't open yet for
that's true. That's true. Pick one, and it can be at any point during 2017. Her comment in the chat room is no. You have 1 week, Destiny Sun, 1 week to pick a 50K.
The whole chat room is yelling at
you. Now have hundreds of people in your corner, Destiny, wanting you to complete this, and you have 2 very special people right here that want you to complete it, and will be there for you every step of the way. Well, I guess I don't know if we can run every step of the 50K unless we register as well, which we're happy to do. I did it with her first. Just register. Find one that's cool. Find one that's awesome. We're happy to give recommendations. I know that you've told us some are scary because they're nasty mountains and tons of climbing. We will find you one that is good. There are a lot of them, all up and down the West Coast, Oregon or Washington, if you want to stay local. But they're going to be beautiful. It's going to be amazing. We will find one for you. But I want to be able to announce it next Monday that Destiny Sun chose one. That's all I want to say. I don't have to say which one no pressure, except you just got to pick one. That's it.
All right, moving on to another goal. Randy Cafaro says, I just want to be able to run again. This knee injury, 4 months, is killing me. 3-mile hilly hike today. I'm on my way, I hope.
Patience, man. Oh, man. Randy's a frequent viewer of the show, longtime supporter. And I remember reading this with Randy. While I was not anywhere near as long, I wasn't out nearly as long as that, but the principles all apply. And it's to be patient and diligent and not come back too soon. Whether it was my ankle sprain or my knee injury this summer, it's so easy to just I feel good today. Time to go amp up the mileage. You got to be careful with that. Be diligent. See as many specialists as you can. But trust me, you will be able to come back. I wish that my future self was able to tell when I sprained my ankle, it was like the world was ended. Like nothing mattered anymore. And I wish my future self, just 3 months. I wish the 3 month further out Ethan was able to come back and say, "You're going to be just fine."
It's so hard to see the light though when you're in the middle of an injury. It's hard to be on social media. It's hard to see everybody else out there running. It's difficult.
Our guest next week is a perfect example of that. Stephanie Howe was out, and we'll talk to her all about the details. I don't know all the details. I know there was surgery and there was all sorts of injury and stuff, but she was out for close to a season. And this is an elite performer, someone that like she obviously has a career outside of running, but like her elite status as an ultra runner depended on her being able to run. She had to be patient. And the other thing that obviously everyone who's been injured can attest to, the fear of missing out and basically following people who go run every day. It's difficult. And obviously watching the show is probably really difficult, and watching videos and stuff is really difficult to see us go run and post pictures. Do what you need to do to know that you will be there. Yeah. If you need to check out for, like not check our Instagrams or something, or see friends running in exotic locations, we've had to do it too. Like we do it pretty frequently.
I had a conversation with my friend Lynn this year, who's been suffering like injury after injury and had to cancel. I think she had to cancel 2 races at the end of the year. And she's like, oh, it's just really frustrating being on Instagram, being on Facebook. And I told her that when I had an ankle injury years ago, I actually unplugged completely from social media because it was just frustrating, and it would make me angry, and it'd make me feel really impatient and make me feel jealous. And so that's what she ended up doing. She ended up like bowing out of social media for a week or 2, I think, and
totally normal.
A little bit of time for herself.
Yeah.
So
it's totally normal to have the feelings that you're missing out on some amazing stuff. Every time that we don't go to a race that all of our friends are at, it's like, oh man, we should have gone, or we're missing out. It's going to be there. It's going to be there every year. The community is going to be there. No one's going anywhere. So yeah, you can also look at it like this is a great opportunity to start from scratch. You're starting from zero. You get to work on speed again and like build up. So by the time you're trained again, you're going to be a much better athlete than you were before. So get excited. If you're already able to get back to hiking and that sort of thing, get excited, because guess what's around the corner? Health. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Do you want to do a couple more?
Let's do, I'll do one more. Maybe you can do one more, and then we can do some more live ones, and then we can talk about our big one.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. This one for me it's a goal, but it's also like I'm aware that it might not happen, because a bit of it is out of my control, and that is growth. Growth as the ginger runner. I would love. This is something that I never told anybody except for you. And by the end of 2016, I wanted to reach 70,000 subscribers on the channel.
Do you know when you told me that?
Like what, 10 minutes before midnight?
Yeah, it was New Year's Eve.
It basically, subscriber counts on YouTube don't really matter. First of all, even while you guys are watching, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, because YouTube has known to unsubscribe people.
The big goal is not a baby.
Oh yeah. Oh no, guys. I should have said. I feel like every time we're like, hey, we got a big announcement. No. It's not a baby. YouTube has unsubscribed to people in the past. And also, if you want to be notified of any video going live, click the little bell next to the subscribe button. If you're on mobile, it's there on the YouTube page, Ginger Run YouTube page, and Mile Long Legs. Or if you just go to our home pages here on YouTube, there's a little bell next to the subscribe button. Click it. You'll be notified when a video goes live. Because YouTube has knowingly unsubscribe people from channels, or it says they're subscribed, but the reality is they're unsubscribed. So when they click unsubscribe, they actually subscribe. Yeah, YouTube has been doing some terrible things. Viewership was down for most of the year. Like I basically saw this trend of every video I post gets X number of views within the first 24 hours. This is all like specifics and numbers and all that kind of thing. And I'll get to the point of this in a minute. Over the latter end of 2016, it was clear that something was amiss with the algorithm that distributes content to the subscribers or to the viewers. Channels in the range of 50,000 to 500,000 subscribers were getting hit the worst. you see channels that have millions of subscribers were getting hit very, very badly. But obviously they can sustain their whole life with millions of subscribers because they're getting paid quite a bit of money. It was obvious that something was amiss. So I basically kind of gave up on this goal. Didn't really talk about it, but my goal was by the end of 2016 to reach 70,000 subscribers. 10 minutes before midnight, I look at Kim and go, I'm at 69,987. I was 13 subscribers short of 70,000. Again, I have no control over this. If I had tweeted like, need 13 more subscribers, sure, I probably could have gotten them. But I don't want to do that. I think it was maybe an hour after midnight, the first day into 2017, we passed 70,000
I looked
subscribers.
and I said, did you? Yeah.
I had given up on the goal. I was just like so frustrated. I'm like, how did we not by 13? So we did it. We got over 70,000 and now we're close to 71,000, which is awesome. So my goal, I'm going to put this out there. I have very little control over it, but this will also be an opportunity for us to finally like, let's ask you guys, our community, to help us just throughout the year. It's very easy. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to pay anything. It's very easy. My goal is 100,000 subscribers. 30,000 subscribers in a year is very difficult when you're at my level, which is small compared to some of the other YouTube channels. But man, if we could get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, that'd be amazing. It'd be amazing. It means nothing. It's a number because really what matters to us most is this community that we're able to look at the comments and interact with. Like that to us is far more important than a number. It just would be cool because they send you a plaque, guys. They send you a YouTube plaque, and it needs to replace
100,000.
147. When we get to 147,000,
there's already been a couple people saying that they were unsubscribed from your channel.
Damn it.
Yeah, I just looked. I was unsubscribed. How does that happen? It unsubscribed me.
It doesn't cost you money to subscribe, obviously. Click the subscribe button if you haven't already. And click the bell just so you know when we upload videos, which will be every Friday or Wednesday and Monday and that sort of thing. But the plaque would be great to showcase here. I would love to be able to share that experience with you guys. We'll do a big countdown to 100,000 subscribers as we get close, and we'll do big giveaways. Obviously, we'll do big giveaways, so there's incentive. But yeah, that's my goal. I haven't really ever talked about that. I haven't talked about numbers or viewership or any of that. And we're going to do a post show here with our Patreon supporters right after this main episode. We will jump over to the Patreon side. And if you are a Patreon supporter of $1 or above, we will have more conversation with the numbers after
I'll
this
maybe
show.
talk about my numbers.
And Kim will talk about her numbers. Yeah. But that's my goal. That would be amazing.
That's a really good goal. And I think you can do it. Somebody said you're going to get to 99,987.
At that point, that's when I call my relatives and tell them, hey, have you guys heard about this YouTube thing?
YouTube cauliflower.
Yeah, oh my God, hashtag cauliflower. This is going to be crazy. One more goal for me, baby.
One more from me.
Yep.
I should make it a good one.
Or do you want to talk about the big one? I'm pregnant. Did I spoil it? Did I not tell you? Sorry, I should have waited until 10 minutes before the end of 2017.
Oh boy. I'll talk about one more just quickly, and then we can move on.
Great.
It's already 7 o'clock.
It is, yeah. We'll do this and then one more, and then we'll go and push up.
One of my other goals is to run happy and with less anxiety.
That's a good one. I think we could both do that.
Be more comfortable with the runner that I am and work harder to bring out the runner that I feel like I can be without measuring myself against others.
That's hard to do, not measure yourself against others. I am all on board with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think 2016 was a huge step for me. A huge step for me.
First 50 miler.
I did my first 50 miler, and I had the best race I've ever run was my PR 50K last year. And both of those races were the first times I've ever kind of towed the line feeling like happy and comfortable and confident in my training. And I want that feeling to continue. Because every other race I've ever run since I've been a runner has not been that situation.
It's true.
It's been stress. It's been like almost like crippling anxiety, like throwing up, dry heaving, feeling sick.
I mean,
terrible.
I mean, even the Squamish 23K this summer, just having just a tough day until for some reason the switch went off again, where you're just like, I'm over this. Let's just finish. And it's like, there's Kim.
Right.
There she is. And yeah, we ended up having a great time the last few miles. And I'm with you. I want to dovetail on that too, because running happy, I was missing a lot of that last year, where races were stressing me out, training was stressing me out. There was lots of times where the run that I was on, I just didn't want to be on anymore. I just wanted to I wanted to quit. I wanted to get into a car and drive home. And I deal with anxiety a lot. I've talked about it, and I think we can both hold each other accountable for this one as well, and continue to talk about it. We'll talk about it on the show. We're pretty open with it as far as our anxiety and lack of trail stoke at certain points. Now we're obviously, I'm back into it. I'm stoked to be running trails again and happy.
Yeah.
But I know that it can always come in waves. So I know that we can hold ourselves accountable not only by talking to each other and communicating openly, but also communicating with you guys too.
Yeah, and I know I personally like to get the messages from you guys. Like every once in a while, I kind of tweet or talk about anxieties, and quite often that will trigger messages coming. So if you guys ever have anything to say, please do message me, because I do like to hear those kinds of things, and it helps.
Yeah, I feel like we both get a good number of people that reach out with very, very similar things, and I also would like to be okay with feeling those feelings. I think that's also really difficult, is we feel these anxiety feelings, and some people don't suffer from it, and that's fine. But I get anxious about lots of things. I have dealt with it for years, decades, and I am learning now that, hey, it's okay to feel those things. There are lots of people that feel those things at certain times. I was always in the spot of like, something's wrong, that you're feeling so anxious and something's wrong. The reality is, nothing's really wrong. It's just everything, other people feel it. It's just you're very aware of it. So I think I need to tell myself constantly that it's okay. It's okay. That being said, talking about finding our trail stoke again, I mentioned it briefly in my 2017 goals and a bit in my recap of 2016 video, which is from the week before that. Trying to find that trail stoke again. The latter half of 2016, I felt like re-upped my ability to love the trails again. There was less stress when I was out there running. I was able to get back into the rhythm of the trail, and it felt good. And a large portion of that came from running back in the Northwest, which is the trails that I grew up, hiking, and what I just truly love the most, because they're green, they're lush. So that kind of comes to our mutual big goal of 2017 is to move back to the Pacific Northwest, which is no longer, it's a goal, but it's going to happen. The big announcement is that Kim and I are moving. We're leaving Los Angeles, and I couldn't be more excited. It's every day I wake up and go, I'm not going to be here much longer. I love Los Angeles. It's been fantastic. I've lived here for close to 10 years, about 9.5 years. And it's time to go. What?
The chat
cauliflower? Kim needs a lozenge. Oh, God. Do you want me to go get you one?
No, I'm fine. I'm fine, you guys.
We both come from the Northwest. I grew up in Washington, born in Portland, grew up in Washington. Kim comes from Canada, British Columbia. And it's just, having lived here for so long and dealt with just the people, the atmosphere, the bubble that Los Angeles is. Yes, the weather's fantastic, and all the trail photos that we've been posting for the last couple of weeks are like, why would you ever leave this? Why would you? It's beautiful. You can stand on top of a mountain and see forever. It's beautiful. It really is. Just because it's beautiful doesn't mean that there are things that are bad about the city, or I'm not going to down talk Los Angeles, because it's basically shaped me to who I am today.
Yeah.
And it gave me more opportunity than I could ever have imagined. It's
part of our story. Like this is part of us,
I came here I became here to be an entertainer, to be a comedy actor. And I worked throughout the industry, behind the camera, in front of the camera, commercials, television, movies, web, everything. Did it all. And the thing that's made me the happiest has been Ginger Runner, 100% without a doubt. And it's the community we've built. It's you guys. It's the lifestyle. It's kind of going back to not wanting to do daily videos, is because there is just this wonderful thing about finding happiness in running, and just the simplicity of it all. And I can do Ginger Runner anywhere. Kim can do Mile Long Legs anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the long talk over the last couple of years of just where do we want to end up? Like, where do we want to raise a family? That's not the announcement. Where do we want to start this business for real? And it's been the Northwest. It's always been the Northwest. And so we are going to go back.
And that'll also put us closer to family. And
nah.
Well, that's important to me. I'm sorry, Ethan's family.
No, that's a huge portion of it.
Yeah. That's it's important to us to kind of be a little bit closer to our family, and because our jobs allow us to be where we would like to be, that's plays a big role.
Family, mini Ginger family. It's not a baby. It's not a baby. Gus is our baby, and he's quite a handful. I don't know if he's gonna like the rain. He'll have to get used to it.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that's our big announcement. That's our big goal for 2017. Yeah. It dovetails with this and you guys, because we also want to have a space that is office oriented, where we can have our sets. We can have a production facility.
I just want to build my set, like my real set.
You obviously can't see Kim's set because it's a curtain that hangs right behind us. There's so much we want to create, and we can do it in Los Angeles, but we're going to be moving anyway, so we want to start it back up in the Northwest.
Yeah.
We will keep you guys abreast of the whole situation and the process and all that. I'll probably end up not daily vlogging, but vlogging the entire adventure, because I'm sure you guys will want to watch it.
Geek with a Side of Nerd goes, so no hope for VGHS spin-off of Clutch and his adventure in the seedy underworld of drift racing simulators?
It's a great call out from a role that I played. I was in my 30s when I played a high school student in a series that you can watch right now on Netflix called VGHS, Video Game High School. My good friends, Freddie Wong, Matt Arnold, and their whole crew of Rocket Jump, which is a studio. It's a YouTube channel, but / studios down here. They do all sorts of stuff. They're good friends of mine from when they started YouTube. We all started YouTube at the exact same time. And they reached out and were like, hey, do you want a small supporting role in this web series we're doing? I was like, hell yeah, man, let's do it. Like, you have to be in high school. I was like, I'm 31, right? I'm 30. You really? And they're like, yeah. I was like, can I go crazy with it? Like, yes, do whatever you want. So I played the role called, his name is Clutch. He plays a video game car drifter. Go watch this series. Your kids will love it. There's 3 different seasons, and it's a lot of fun. If they do a spinoff, we'll make sure that I come back down to Los Angeles to. Trust me, I have pitched my spinoff series to them hundreds of times, and it hasn't happened yet. But every time I've said it, they're like, "Yes, we need to do it." So maybe they will. Who knows?
Chuck Hall says, as long as you don't miss a Monday night show, we are good with the move.
We haven't yet. We haven't yet.
True.
Tonight, we weren't able to get Stephanie at last minute because of Snowmageddon, but we still have a show. Like, we will still do shows. As long it really comes down to the internet. It comes down. We got our internet
fixed. Now that
fixed.
we finally have it fixed.
Yes, we got ours fixed. It took months. So that's, I don't know. That's our big announcement. Stay tuned, guys. Make sure you're subscribed. All that stuff. Any last words, Kim?
That's it. Everybody's kind of wondering where we're going, and there's a lot of shout outs for suggestions. Washington State is likely where we will end up.
It's likely Washington State.
Yeah.
Purely because it's equidistant from my family to Kim's family and friends. We have tons of friends there.
We have a really good built-in community there.
And Destiny, pick your 50K. We'll be up there soon. So
yeah, she won't be able to escape us.
Yeah. But very, very excited, guys. And you keep the recommendations coming, because we haven't chosen which city. It obviously will come down to cost, and Seattle, unfortunately, seems to be insanely expensive. We're shooting for Seattle, but of course, could be an outlier or something like that. And there's lots of mountain ranges out there and lots of really fun stuff to explore. So expect a lot more photos and videos from lush green Pacific Northwest. That's really what I can't wait for. Is the constant exploring that we'll be able to do. Not that we can't explore California or haven't, but
I mean, I've only been away from the Northwest for 2 years now, almost. And I miss it.
Yeah, we just miss
Miss
it. There's something about being amongst the moss and pine trees and evergreens and all that. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. So that's going to wrap up tonight's show. I encourage you, if you have not yet, create a list of goals. It can be a short list. It can be 2 goals, 1 goal. It can be 10 goals. Make them realistic in the sense that, you know, I want to make $1 million this year. I would love that. I should make that goal. Make them, you know, goals that you feel like you can accomplish, or maybe even ones that scare you a little bit. First marathon, first 5K, 10K, and put it out there. You know, make the list and either share it with friends and family, or share it with your Facebook community, or share it with us.
Or write it in your journal. Share it with your significant other or a close friend if you don't feel comfortable putting it out there for the world. Like some of my goals, I haven't told anybody my goals yet, but I should probably tell you.
Tell me.
I've told Gus.
You shared a couple with the live audience. You can share a couple with me, and you can share the rest with Gus. I will also say that we have a great community here, and if you want to come back every Monday and let the community know, we will lovingly help you along those journeys. Everyone here is at a different point in their journey, whether it's shooting through the stars and hoping for a 100-mile or even a 200-mile finish. But we also have people who just started running, maybe haven't even run a 5K yet. So we have a community of all level and abilities, and we encourage you to share your goals with the community here. It's a pretty amazing thing. I'm excited to start 2017 off with that sort of message, and hopefully we can get some of you guys on board. Next week, we are joined by the fantastic Stephanie Howe. Very excited to have her on the show. Fresh off of the Bandera 100K overall win course record. We're going to talk to her all about that race, but also her recovery and surgery and all that took her to now, 2017. It's going to be a big year for her. I feel like it's going to be a crazy good year for her. So that'll be next week's show, Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for episode number 149. 9? Oh, the 147. It's gonna haunt us every episode. People are gonna be like, "What happened on episode?"
Do you know what race that's from?
I believe. You know what? I was gonna say it's North Face, but I don't think it is. Can you see what that says?
I can't.
Oh, what does that say? Quicksilver. Now I can't hang it back up because that took forever to. That's barely on there. It's from the Quicksilver 100K from 2 years ago. Forget about there's some. Oh, if you are a Patreon supporter, join.
I just realized it doesn't fit.
We're going to do a quick post show for Patreon supporters right after this. So if you would like to join us for the post show, consider joining us on Patreon, patreon.com/thegingerrunner. For as little as $1 a month, it keeps the show alive. It keeps the lights on, the mic hot, keeps the rent paid, essentially. You're basically helping to create our content by being a Patreon supporter. So consider joining if you haven't already. If you are a Patreon supporter, you are amazing, and we shall see you in a couple of minutes because the Ginger Runner live post show will start over there in just a couple of moments. Am I missing anything?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I'm going to play the outro credits, and they're not going to have any music.
And if you guys are interested in following my channel, please do so. youtube.com/milelonglegs.
Click the bell on that too.
Ding, ding.
Ding, 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 ding. You guys are fantastic. Thank you so much. Happy New Year. I'll see you in the post show. Patreon supporters.